Today, we're going to talk about one of the most challenging and misunderstood question types on the LSAT, parallel reasoning. You've seen them, you hate them, they're long, dense, and can feel like a black hole for your time. But these questions don't have to be a time suck, and they're not as impossible as they seem. Today, I'll break down for you how to spot them, how to break them down into manageable pieces, and how to identify the traps the test makers love to set. First off, for those who don't know me, my name is Steve Schwartz. I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005, and I personally increased my own LSAT score from a 152 to a 175. So first off, what are parallel reasoning questions? These are questions in the logical reasoning section that ask you to match the structure of an argument, not the topic, not the wording, just the logic. Think of these like blueprints. You're not looking for an answer that looks like the same house. You're looking for an answer that uses the same architectural plan. For example, if the argument in the stimulus says, all employees who meet deadlines get promoted, John meets deadlines, therefore John gets promoted, you'll need to find an answer with the same structure. It might say, all plants that receive sunlight grow, this plant receives sunlight, therefore this plant grows. Totally different subject, but the same underlying logic. That's what these questions are really testing, your ability to think abstractly and recognize the patterns. So let's break down for you what is that step-by-step approach you can apply to any parallel reasoning question you're going to see. Step 1, analyze the stimulus. Find the conclusion, meaning what is the main point the argument is trying to make. Is it strong, like saying always or must, or is it more moderate, like saying probably or some? Secondly, identify the premises. These are the facts or reasoning the author uses to support their conclusion. And finally, ask yourself, is the argument valid or flawed? Does the reasoning make sense, or is there some kind of logical error? Here's an example. All red cars are fast, all blue cars are slow. This car is purple, therefore it is an average speed. Is this valid reasoning? Definitely not. Just because purple is a mix of red and blue doesn't mean the car's speed is an average of red and blue car's speed. That would be a logical flaw, and we will use that information to find a matching answer. So again, step 1 was analyze the stimulus, analyze the reasoning. Now, step 2, identify the key features of the argument. This is where you're going to figure out what makes the argument unique. For example, you want to ask yourself, is there conditional logic? Words like if, then, or only if would be big clues that you are dealing with conditional logic. Or alternatively, is there causal reasoning? Does the argument claim that one thing caused another? Or is it about comparisons? Maybe the argument is comparing two different groups or options. For our car example before, what was unique about it? First, there was strong, universal language like all red cars and all blue cars. Secondly, there was a flawed assumption that the mix of two extremes leads to a moderate result. This is what we're going to look for in the answer choices. So now, step 3, since we've already step 1, analyze the stimulus, and step 2, identify the key features. Now, step 3, we're going to compare strategically. This is where most students get stuck because they think they need to read every word of every answer. That is not what you need to do. Don't make that mistake. Instead, you want to eliminate answers aggressively. If an answer doesn't match the logic, get rid of it fast, eliminate it right off the bat. So to go back to our car example, if an answer says all fast trains are expensive, all slow trains are cheap, therefore a train of moderate speed costs a mid-range price. Does it match? Nope, because the conclusion is about being moderately priced, not moderately fast. Eliminate answers aggressively. If an answer doesn't match the logic, get rid of it fast. So you're going to want to look for answers that match in these key ways. Is the conclusion strong or is it moderate? Are the premises connected in the same way as in the original? And does the reasoning use the same logic, like conditional reasoning or argument by analogy? You're not looking for a perfect topic match. If the stimulus is about cars, the right answer could be about something totally different, like trains, chemicals, or pizza. What matters is the reasoning. Now let's talk about common traps to avoid. First off, the topic does not matter. Just because an answer choice talks about the same subject does not mean it's correct. Ignore the topic entirely. It's a distraction meant to throw you off. Secondly, the reasoning may not match. If the stimulus uses conditional logic, but the answer uses a causal argument, that would be a mismatch. You want to eliminate it. And finally, if the stimulus is flawed, the answer must be flawed also. Alternatively, if the stimulus is valid, the correct answer must also be valid. The faster you can spot them, the better. And that is what we do with the Socratic review method. We look to analyze the tricks and traps the test makers are throwing at you, and beyond that, personalize your review process to determine which tricks and traps you personally are uniquely prone to falling for, so that you can avoid making the same mistake again. And so, for example, if you are prone to having difficulty spotting mismatches in the reasoning, conditional versus causal, for example, we want to note that. If you're prone to getting confused by the fact that the topic may be similar, but the reasoning underlying is not similar, we want to note that as well. We want to look at what are the patterns and the mistakes that you're making, so you can avoid making those same mistakes the next time around. It is not enough to look at the answer key and say, oh, I get it now. How could I have been so dumb? It is not enough to Google for an explanation, because that explanation is not going to be personalized for you. And so in our coaching programs, we personalize your review process to determine which tricks and traps you're making. We note that, we highlight that in your mistake journal. We personalize your study plan to account for that, so that you can avoid making the same mistake again. And if you'd like my help with this process, we offer one-on-one coaching programs personalized to you. If you're interested in finding out more, you can check out the links below to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. Now I'm going to share some more advanced parallel reasoning strategies to take your skills to the next level. First, abstract the argument. After you read the stimulus, summarize it in the broadest term possible. For example, the author says we should do X because Y is bad. Use that summary to guide your review of the answer choices. Secondly, practice eliminating quickly. By definition, 4 out of the 5 answer choices are wrong, so you don't want to waste time over analyzing them. If something feels off, trust your instincts and move on. Third, start with the conclusion. Sometimes the fastest way to eliminate answer choices is by comparing the conclusion type, whether it's strong or extreme, or if it's moderate, or if it's conditional. Now let's take a step back as to why this matters. Why do parallel reasoning questions even matter? Why are they even on the LSAT? Because like all the other logical reasoning questions, they test your ability to think logically and abstractly. These are skills that are critical for law school and beyond. But the good news is that these are not random. They follow predictable patterns. And once you recognize these patterns, you'll not only ace parallel reasoning questions in particular, you'll get faster and you'll have higher accuracy across the entire LSAT, even into reading comprehension. So there you have it. That's everything you need to master parallel reasoning questions. And if you'd like my help solving these or anything else on the LSAT, my team and I would be glad to support you. You can check out the links below to book a call with me and my team. And in the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.